Hey Gear Facts friends, it's another trip back in time today. We're looking at the Yamaha PSR-7. This is a vintage keyboard, of course. I would date this to about 1989, I suppose. This is one of the first old ones that had the DAS system. That's a name that sounds much more impressive than it actually is. I think it just means early sort of waveform sampling, although I must say the sounds on these do sound very FM. Not that they're all bad. In fact, quite the opposite. Some of them are pretty good. We've got the familiar automatic accompaniment system there, plus a range of different styles. Bit of a small range, but there's a bit of charm there too, as we're about to see. Intros, fill-ins for the rhythms, and a two-line voice selection system. So it's fair to say that there's not all that much to the PSR-7. Let's have a listen to the default sound, piano. Quite an interesting sort of piano sound. Obviously it's very fake sounding, but it's a very linear wave. It doesn't kind of modulate like a piano does. It just starts with one waveform and fades out. And I actually don't mind that. It's quite interesting. Let's try electric piano. Then we've got harpsichord. This one's marimba. And I'll just run through the next 20 or so without naming them. It's interesting that you can actually switch between them and the same key will stay activated. Could make for some interesting experiments. Starting again from pipe organ. It's another good sound. Classical guitar. So now we press this button up here to bring on the B range of sounds, and we're back to the top left one. D-tune piano. digital form of acoustic bass. An even more digital slap bass sound. The next one's called Landscape. Ice Block. I would have called that one Space Invaders myself. It's really cool, actually. Then we got Birds. And another sound effect one, Ow. And I missed one before, it's Fuzz Brass, and this is a really FM one that I quite like. It even has that rich FM decay as well. Unfortunately, the sounds are in no way editable, but that one's pretty good the way it is. Okay, the rhythm section. This is very straightforward. You have to choose one of the rhythm modes, either single finger, fingered, or manual bass. Manual bass, you're just going to be playing the keyboard sound as it is, right down to the bass register. Although we'll substitute in a bass sound for the actual sound that you've selected in the main menu. So you end up with a split keyboard between bass and your lead sound. Fingered is where you shape the chords yourself and the accompaniment will match those chords, and single finger, my personal favourite, will generate chords with just one key, and this actually creates a really good monophonic sound. Okay, nothing much good came up then, but this is a part of the keyboard where you can come up with some really fun little accidents which can result in good chord progressions. Plus I kind of like that sound too. It's actually combining two of the lead voices which show up in the accompaniment as you play it. So it won't be the same for all of them. Okay, so it's the same for 16 beat and rock and roll, but if you go to bossa nova, march, it's different. March is another good one. Although the rhythm itself is not good. Might be good for sampling or a kind of a funny interlude in your music, but that pretty much sets the tone for the kinds of sounds that we're going to get from percussion. It does have a fill-in button. The fill-ins tend to come through much louder though. So there you go, very harsh, tight percussion sounds. So now that we've heard all the sounds and the rhythms, there's nothing much to do but to take a bit of a tour across the keyboard. We've seen all of this. The only thing I haven't shown you on the front is the record function and the demo function. A very simple system. All you do is play a melody with the record button pressed and it will record exactly what you play and simply play it back by pressing the play button. Easy. On the back there is very little to see. We've got the sheet music stand holder there, then the headphone socket and the power in. That's literally it. And of course it can take 6D batteries. Well, I guess there's not much point in giving a verdict for keyboards like this because they are pretty much just a novelty these days, but I found myself really enjoying the PSR-7. This DAS system I think is a bit of a joke, but it's a good joke, it's a funny joke, and I really liked some of those sounds. The mono speaker on the left does a surprisingly good job of making the sound sort of surrounding. Obviously a pair of stereo speakers would be better, but that's what plugging into an amplification system is for. Anyway, that's it for the PSR-7. Please share this with anybody you think might be interesting, or leave a comment or a like, or even subscribe to Gear Facts. That would be awesome. Thanks again for watching, guys. I look forward to seeing you for the next exciting Gear Facts episode. So.